when I'm talking about reclaiming our body and that the feminine is in the body, you have to think that your womb is literally the creation of all life. The womb is the origin of all life. This is why women are so incredibly powerful, right? And the reason that we've been so heavily conditioned to disassociate, to disconnect, to be so busy doing in our lives that we're not present with our bodies. We're not present with our pleasure. We're not present, to even hear our own inner compass, our own inner guidance, is because a woman who is connected to her pleasure is a dangerous woman. A woman who is connected to her power, to her sexuality, to her spirituality, to God is a dangerous woman. Okay. So, welcome back to the Shadow Priestess Embodied. I'm your host, Kaylin Rakowski, and thank you for joining me today for another deep dive and exploration into your inner world, into your body, the shadow realms, where we will begin to explore some of these esoteric principles and really begin to drop them down into modern day application and embodiment. This is a sacred place where you can begin to truly meet yourself, meet your medicine, and to meet your magic. This is a place of remembrance. Take a deep breath and let's begin. Welcome back, you guys, for another episode of the Shadow Priestess Embodied podcast. I'm your host, Kaylin Rakowski, and thank you for tuning in today. So today I'm going to do a little solo podcast, a little channeling for you guys. And really, we're just going to riff on the divine feminine. So as some of you know, I am a feminine mentor. I am a devotee, a student, and a channel of all things divine feminine. And I would say over the last year, I've been diving deep into the feminine mysteries, the feminine arts, and really just what this journey really looks like coming home to your feminine essence, coming home to your magic, your pleasure, your power, your purpose. And I feel like this is a conversation that so many of us need to have. And the reason we need to talk about this is because we're seeing this massive feminine revival, right? I know you guys have heard me talk about this. We are seeing a rise in the feminine essence and feminine power and feminine leadership, which is so needed and is amazing to see. But there are some things that I'm noticing that are not coming from the truth or the foundation of the sacred feminine. And where so many people are approaching their feminine embodiment, their feminine unveiling, their reclamation in ways that truly are not supportive of the feminine. And honestly, you guys, coming back home to your feminine is a mystery. It's literally embracing the unknown and changing your relationship with the unseen. Because the truth of the matter is, I've been studying the feminine for years, okay? I've read books, I've had mentors, and, I was just in this phase of consuming. I wanted to know all the things, right? Because if I know all the things, then I'll be it, right? It seems simple. And what I realized is that the path of the feminine is unique to each individual. Okay, 222 as I'm saying that, which is literally the calling of the sacred feminine. It's going to be unique to each individual, and there's no 12-step process. There's, no book you're going to read. It's literally an embodied remembrance. So much of reclaiming the feminine comes from reclaiming your oracular channel, right? That intuitive wisdom that women just have. We are literally, you guys, a bridge between realms. We are a vessel for creation. We are pillars of light. As a woman, your body is literally spiritual technology. And the path home to the feminine is reclaiming, recalibrating, and reattuning to your vessel, to these pathways, to these channels. And your feminine magic, your feminine expression, your feminine embodiment can never be unlocked through the mind. It's not something that you have to know more. The feminine exists in the being, in the present. Okay. And the reason that I'm noticing this big disconnect in women really stepping into their feminine power and reclaiming their feminine essence is because they're trying to approach this from the mind. Okay. And the feminine is in the body. The feminine is in the body. To be in the feminine is to be in your body. So if you haven't yet begin to cultivate this deeper connection and relationship with your body, with your womb, with your heart, right? With your senses, then you have not even begun to scratch the surface as to what's really available or waiting for you to be unlocked and uncovered in the feminine mysteries. Okay. And when I'm talking about reclaiming our body and that the feminine is in the body, you have to think that your womb is literally the creation of all life. The womb is the origin of all life. This is why women are so incredibly powerful, right? And the reason that we've been so heavily conditioned to disassociate, to disconnect, to be so busy doing in our lives that we're not present with our bodies. We're not present with our pleasure. We're not present, to even hear our own inner compass, our own inner guidance, is because a woman who is connected to her pleasure is a dangerous woman. A woman who is connected to her power, to her sexuality, to her spirituality, to God is a dangerous woman. Okay. So much of this feminine reclamation, and I would even call it a rebellion, is a reclamation of our bodies, of our pleasure. Okay. And I just want you to notice what's happening in your body as I say that. Does it feel like you're coming home to a deeper truth and you're like, yes, that feels good. I know that. Does part of you want to cringe and kind of close yourself and you feel kind of icky and sticky and you're like, oh no, like pleasure is icky, pleasure is bad, so much of this is from the patriarchy, right? From religious programming, religious dogma that teaches women that their body isn't something that is absolutely sacred. When truthfully, as a woman, your body is the most sacred thing on this planet. You are literally a walking goddess. And I know maybe you guys are laughing as I'm saying this, but it's true, right? You literally have the ability in your body to be a creatrix, to birth new worlds, to birth new projects, to create art, to create life, right? And all of this exists lying dormant in the womb, waiting for you to come home to that creative, to that sexual, to that Shakti, to that Eros, to that aliveness that for so long has been so heavily repressed and demonized, right? And this is by no mistake, you guys, because the more that we're programmed, the more that we're conditioned, the more that we're taught to be busy, to stay small, to, go on this dotted path, to live the status quo, we literally disconnect ourselves further and further from our essence, right? From our divinity, from our ability to literally be that unique emanation, that radiance, that magnetism that exists when you come home to the body, when you come home to the feminine, and you really start to embrace your power, right? And I'll use kind of power and magic interchangeably, but the reason that I'm really highlighting on coming home to pleasure, and I'm not just talking about sexual pleasure, you guys. Like, yes, that is a part of it and a big pathway. But what pleasure really is, it's just a sensitivity to sensation. Okay. So if you think about the feminine and her ability to, read in between the lines, to dance in between realms, to know, to see things that, you're kind of like, well, how do you even know that? How can you do that? It is this resensitization to the subtle. Right? And as we resensitize ourselves to the subtle, we resensitize our feminine pathways, our feminine channels. There's new neural pathways, there's new pockets of information, of DNA that begin to become open and available to you through the body when you start to expand the capacity and the space to receive it. Okay. And this is why so many women are walking around completely disembodied or unconnected to their feminine essence is because they don't have the daily practice. They don't have the relationship with their bodies. They aren't doing the things to cultivate that relationship and to create the space for that inner wisdom, right? Like I was saying, your oracular channel to come online and to be the guiding factor of your life. Can you imagine as a woman how powerful your work would be? How potent your work would be? How magnetizing, how radiant, how just overflowing with love you would be if you literally were guided by your heart, if you were guided by your womb, if you were guided by your pussy, versus trying to control and manipulate your way through life through the mind, through the ego. And why we want to create this switch in the body, why we really want to come back home to our feminine power, to being spirit led, is because when you do this, you start creating a life of alignment. You start creating a life of flow. You start creating a life of fulfillment, of liberation, one that truly feels good to be in. Not one that looks good, not one that you were told to do to be whatever it is, but one that truly honors that unique essence, that radiance that you and only you can be. And anything that you create from the mind is always going to be limited. The mind, the ego, it just creates what it's seen before. And you, if you're here, you're not here to live status quo, baby. You're not here to create what you've already seen before. You are literally here to birth something completely new, something unique, something that this world has never seen before. Okay. And this all happens when you return to the feminine, when you connect with your body, when you slow down and create the space to be receptive, to be in surrender. And it's like as we return to the slowness, right? As we begin to connect with the subtle, with our pleasure, just by doing that, you reclaim your feminine power. Okay. And it's like, as we reclaim this feminine power, it's like we reclaim those parts of us that are undeniable, right? We start to become women who are magnetic. We start to become an embodied woman who is completely present in their lives, who prioritizes beingness over doingness, who deeply listens to their bodies and to their intuition. And if you're wondering like, am I connected to my feminine power? Am I connected to that part of me? What's your relationship with pleasure? What's your relationship to literally receive the subtle, right? Because a key indicator as how connected to your feminine radiance and magnetism you are, as how connected to your pleasure you are. They literally go hand in hand, right? Your pleasure is the doorway to more of your power, more of your purpose, more of your prosperity, which seems counterintuitive. But as a feminine being, we are pleasure led. We are tapped in. We are turned on women, right? It's a fire that gets ignited within us. And as we connect with our pleasure, as we begin reclaiming our power, we open up these pathways to literally reclaim the feminine magic, the feminine mystery. And this will happen through oracular osmosis, right? By you being in the body, by you tapping into the DNA, by you tapping into that energetic signature, you literally begin to open the doorways to the deepest parts of your soul and authentic essence. The parts of you that have been preordained since birth, just waiting, lying dormant to come online, right? And the way that you begin to access these new channels and pathways in the body, in the psyche, in the energy, in the ka body is literally by resensitizing the feminine, attuning yourself to listen to the stillness, to hear what isn't being said, to feel what you can't see, right? To see what maybe isn't there with the naked eye. This literally is the power of the feminine, right? She is the mystery. She is the liminality. And so much of this journey is changing your relationship with that. Instead of fearing it or making it bad or trying to fill the empty space, how deep are you willing to go into the void? How deep are you willing to journey into the womb of the cosmic mother, knowing you will forever be reborn? And the gift that the goddess, the gift that the feminine has for you is far beyond your wildest dreams. It literally is the pulsing of your soul. It is that part of you that is absolutely magnificent. It is the part of you that you've been suppressing, that you've been repressing, that you've been hiding away from the world. And she's just begging to come out, to play, to be seen, to be heard. And I will share a little side caveat. Don't be surprised when you truly begin to meet your muse, to meet your feminine, if she's not pissed the fuck off. I'm going to tell you right now, as I've been reclaiming my feminine, it's also reclaiming all the times that she was silenced, all the times that she wasn't good enough, all the times that she was told to sit down, to be quiet, to look pretty, that she was too much, that she wasn't enough. All those times that you didn't allow her the space just to be witnessed. So know that it's a journey, because the feminine isn't just hugs and kisses and butterflies and rainbows. She is literally volcanoes erupting. She is literally the biggest storms in the sky. She is literally fire. She's powerful. She can be soft. She can be subtle. And yet at the same time, so incredibly powerful. And this is the gift of the feminine. It's owning the duality. It's owning the parts of us that is the lover and also is the destroyer. The parts of us that are so deeply spiritual and devoted and connected to God, and also so completely liberated and free, sexual and turned on. Your body is your vessel. Your body is your temple. And as we literally return to slowness, return to the subtle, return to our pleasure, we reclaim the feminine power. We reclaim our feminine magic. I promise you that you have so much lying dormant in the DNA, so much magic inside of your bones that is just clawing its way, wanting to come out, wanting to be expressed, to emote, to be embodied, for you to just feel it. The feminine loves to feel. She wants to feel it. So where in your life are you denying the feminine? Where in your life are you not creating the space to allow her to come out, to be seen, to be in her rage, to be in her fury, to be in her joy, to be in her pleasure, to be in her ecstasy? Where are you still creating limitation on the feminine? Where are you still operating in a box that you feel like she has to be, when really there's this whole other flavor that just wants to come out and play? Where in your life can you begin to slow down, to deepen, to listen, and create space for her to speak? The feminine magic, the feminine pleasure, the feminine ecstasy, magnetism is never going to be found in the mind. You can't think your way into feminine embodiment. It's something magical that happens when you get out of your head, into your heart, into your womb, into your pussy, and you begin to explore the deepest mysteries of the ancient goddess. If you're a woman who struggles with worthiness, with feeling enough, and really allowing yourself to be seen, this is literally my sweet spot and where I love to guide my clients through to help women redefine their relationship with their power, with their magic, and truly begin to live a life that is in alignment, that is fully expressed in their essence, and really which leads you to liberation, prosperity, and to deepen into your purpose. I recently have opened a few select spaces for one-on-one deep feminine mentorship and will be reopening the doors to my group mastermind Emergence. Click the link in the bio to apply. I can't wait to connect.